Okay guys, today we're joined with Miss Gizmo here, and in today's FAQ Friday I am talking about how to pick up your leopard gecko. Now this is definitely a question I get asked a lot, and I tend to... What are you doing? That isn't a real... That's a picture, Gizmo. This is just embarrassing. Okay, I tell people that leopard geckos are intelligent. What are you doing? Go back. Go on. Okay, so I tend to tell people the same way, the same technique of picking them up, and it always seems to work, so I figured I'd make a video on it. This is what I like to call the scoop technique. So, this will vary depending on the size of your gecko. Gizmo's an adult, she's 9 years old, so I can use my hands like this. It's an interesting video, but when you have babies, obviously the gap between their front legs and the back legs is much smaller, so you might only have to use one finger or two. So, Gizmo. So with the scoop technique, we go in between the front and back legs. You don't even have to hold this tightly, really light. Put the other hand in front of the other, and there you go. So what you're doing is you're scooping them off the ground that they're on, without trying to wait for them to walk onto your hand. Okay, if they're up at the door like this, even easier. Scoop, hand in front of the other. This is your gecko. Pick her up. Not tight, you don't have to do it tight. Put this other hand in front of here. And now she has a base to walk on and you've lifted her up. A good way to handle them is like this way, so they're pointing this way because they just go up your arm. But if you do have to keep putting one hand in front of the other because they're moving a bit quick, that's fine. There are different things you have to experience when taming a gecko, and that's just one of them. So if you get your gecko and they're moving really quick and it's taking a little while to tame, don't be discouraged, because once they are tame, it's the biggest payoff. It's brilliant, and you can handle them and they won't stress out and they actually kind of enjoy coming out. Now, some people are worried about being bitten, or the tail dropping off, or the gecko running off. So here are a few tips. Number one, in my experience, leopard geckos are one of the most docile geckos. They are not violent, they don't naturally want to attack you. If you got something like a tokay gecko, if you ever see videos of them, they're slightly crazy and you are more likely to be bitten by them, but leopard geckos, not really. And to top that off, their bite isn't really that bad, especially babies. You don't even really feel babies. For the tail, I know this is a really big worry for some people. The tail, I don't know how hard someone has to pull on the tail, but like, I know breeders who pick the geckos up by the tails and know how to do it properly so the gecko isn't in danger. I wouldn't suggest that for new owners, but it can be done, and it shows that it can take quite a lot for that tail to drop off. It doesn't just drop off because you're trying to handle the gecko, as long as you're holding the gecko correctly, of course. And as for it running off, yes, it can be a little bit fast when they're babies, but you can easily control that by putting one hand in front of the other and then slowly, gradually slowing it down. And, oh, Giz, it's okay, calm down. Giz. Okay. And another tip, don't have your cat or your dog or anything that could potentially catch your gecko in the room when you're first handling it or first taming it. To be honest, I wouldn't get your gecko out when you've got a pet in your room like that. Like, I can have a cat in the room and she's asleep and I know I've had my geckos for a long time and they're tame and I can control them. But when you're starting off, don't do that, because if they get freaked out and they run off, and that's perfect prey for your cat or dog, so don't put them in that kind of risk situation, because that's kind of mean for your leopard geckos. Now I'm going to set you a challenge, and it's called the Leopard Gecko Taming Challenge, and this is for all you new owners out there. If you have babies, juvies, even adults, I want you to try this, okay? So basically it just consists of scooping up your gecko, like I said, using this technique, and being consistent. So if we set this out for a week, and you want to try to handle it, maybe 5 minutes on the first day, 5 minutes on the second, 10 minutes on the third. Test how your gecko's doing, you know, keep an eye on how they're reacting to this, and maybe make it a little bit gradual over the week. And see how you do with taming your gecko if you're really struggling at the moment. Post your results on YouTube, tag me in it or let me know you've done this, and I'll go and see the footage. for me, this is what I've always done with my geckos, and it's always worked out, and I have majorly tame leopard geckos now. So Giz, you coming up here? Yeah. So I just want to help you guys, and if you guys try that out, that will be great. So this has been the FAQ Friday for this week. I hope it has helped, and thank you for watching.